Welcome to Coaches of Louisville. My name is Rob Young. I'm one of the sales staff here, and we are here today. This is the first Coaches of Louisville. We're here with Coach Chuck Medley. Welcome, Coach.
Well, thank you, Rob.
And a distinguished,
and Coach Young.
a distinguished group of gentlemen that I'll let introduce themselves.
I think distinguished might be a little bit of a stretch, but Sam Lewis, class of 2013, St. X.
Yeah, Chris Striegel, class of 2014.
Thomas Cave, class of 2013.
Connor Sheryak, class of 2013.
You know, these guys were extinguished runners at St. X. Distinguished runners at St. X. All of them on our state championship team in 2011 and 12 also, right? Coach, again, welcome. Take a few minutes to tell us a little bit about your childhood. Start way back then, if you can remember it.
Grew up in Oklahoma. I went to St. Rita's. Played baseball most of my life. We played baseball every day when we were kids. Went to DeSales High School, and when I got there, I didn't even know what cross country even was. Our coach there was Bob Thompson, and he had this thing figured out with the basketball coach, and they didn't have soccer back then. He said, in order to be on the try for the basketball team, you had to either play football or run cross country. So a lot of my friends I knew that were good at basketball, they tried out, and I didn't care, didn't know what was going on. But my history coach was the cross country coach, and he talked me into going out, and I went out because of my best friends from St. Rita's were on the team, and stayed 4 years. We were two-time state champion when I was there, and one time afterwards, and it was probably the best thing I ever did in my life was doing that. Should I go back deeper?
No, that's
Okay.
pretty deep.
Yeah.
So how'd you think about getting into coaching?
Well, I went to UK, got a degree in accounting, and I worked for my parents' company for 13 years. And as you know, working for your dad sometimes, it's not always the easiest thing in the world. The expectations are too high, and they still treat you like you're 12. And I got tired of that, and decided I hung around with some teachers that I played softball with, and I decided to go back to school and get my math degree and go into teaching. And my first job was at St. X, teaching. I came in the middle of the year because they had a teacher quit who was also a track coach. And one of the reasons that I got on was because they asked me if I'd coach track, and I said, yeah, I ran distance in high school. I'll coach track. Well, little did I know that they want me to coach long jump, triple jump, hurdles, and then eventually pole vault it, and I didn't know anything about any of it. But that got involved with it, and Brother Borgia was the freshman cross-country coach when I first started, and after my first track season, he retired, and I became freshman coach cross-country at St. X, and was Coach Cooper's assistant for 8 years. And then when he retired, then he chose me to take over for him, and that's how I got into it. And you guys know how much I love the sport, how much I love the guys that I work with, and pretty happy with it.
Yeah, your passion for the sport is unparalleled. You know, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you know, I guess I get it from my coach. It's like when we were trained. First of all, when we trained at DeSales, we weren't just cross country runners. We weren't just track runners. We were distance runners. So he instilled in us that you got to run all year round. And God bless Coach Cooper, but when they got done with cross country, he took off until February, and then started back track again. And we were getting too far to shape. Our guys weren't doing well. So I decided and you were with me when we took over, that we're going to practice all year round. We're going to take 2 weeks off after cross country state, 2 weeks after track state, and we're going to practice all year round just to stay in shape. And I like to succeed. I want things to go right, and I want it to be good, and I wanted these guys to be good. So I dedicated myself that if I wanted them to be at practice, then I was going to be at practice. And it was very seldom that I ever missed when you guys were on Sundays. I generally didn't show up, but if we were practicing during the summer, if we were practicing during the winter, whatever it was, if the commitment from you guys was there, it had to be there from me. So that's why I did that.
Yeah, and you guys were committed. And feel free to chime in.
Yeah, anytime.
So tell us about, you got started at St. X. What year was that?
I started teaching in 1990.
Okay, and coaching
January
right-
1990.
Coaching right away.
Yeah.
And you were an assistant coach from 90 to
97 was my last cross-country season as
Okay.
assistant. 98 was the first year's head coach.
and then head coach from 98 till
2016?
2016. No,
No.
it had to be longer than that. 18.
18,
18.
right.
Yeah,
18.
yeah. Okay.
Too bad there wasn't multiple choice.
How do you think you went about? I mean, I would say we had a dynasty at St. X, and you guys were part of it. How did that get created? What was
Well, really, I mean, it's these guys. You know, you and I, even when we were coaching with Coach Cooper, he never went to clinics, and you and I decided that, and we didn't have the internet around to actually look for stuff to do.
Yeah.
He and I started to go to clinics, and we started learning from the best high school coaches in the country what they were doing best, and we kept going. And our drive, our ability to motivate these guys to do what we wanted to do, just helped them be better. And at St. X, you're getting 60, 70 guys, and you can find 15, 20 that can run pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, and most of these guys had run in grade school. Most of these guys were dedicated to running. Not everybody, but they came in and we were just facilitators for them, I think, more than anything else. We knew what we were doing, but we took a great product and made it as good as we can make it. If it wasn't for them, we would not have the product that we had, I don't think.
Yeah. And I think somehow, I don't know how we did it, but we were able to take some guys. You guys all ran in grade school, like you said, but we were able to take some guys that maybe got cut from the golf team or the soccer team, and kind of and I'm even thinking of Scott McLean, who really wanted to be a wrestler, and
Right.
you know, got him kind of motivated to want to run and do the work.
Ryan
you know.
Guffner.
Ben
Ryan
Metzger.
Guffner.
Yeah.
Ben Metzger, yeah, it was
Yeah,
baseball guy.
Metzger,
yeah.
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 We just, I mean, you know, we have to give ourselves credit, you know, that we knew what we were doing to make these guys better, and peer pressure. You know, I mean, Metzger came out. You know, he's part. You took him in right away. He was a great athlete. You know, he worked hard. In fact, when I was working at Sundays at Seneca Park, sometimes he's the only guy I saw it running. But we did take kids like him.
Early on, Matt Graham, who was a golf guy, you know, and
Yeah.
became very successful.
But
And the one thing about, from my experience, like in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, like you guys were out at the CSAA meets and stuff, and already I was like, I want to run for those guys one day. And I think it just kind of, at our time, it was kind of like already established as far as the program, and we wanted to be a part of it. So I think that's the good thing about St. X Cross Country is like the top kids in the city, like they see what you guys did and what you've done, and that's what they wanted to be a part of. So
yeah, I think it's definitely a culture.
yeah,
I
100%.
mean, you know, you step into it, and we took everybody. We coached everybody. As you guys know, we always had like 3 groups, and I didn't coach the top group all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I took different guys and stuff like that because I wanted everybody to be part of the team. No matter how fast you were, how slow you were, how talented you were, how non-talented you were, I want everybody to feel like they're part of the team.
I would say too, just with the culture, there's a really clear vision of what accomplishment meant year after year. And I think early on it was, state championship. Didn't even really think about Nike, and then you kind of recognize as we were, progressing. And Nike, 2009 we had a great Nike team, kind of just missed it, but it was still state championship is our goal, and having kind of that clear vision was definitely helpful in building the culture.
Yeah, I think sometimes in sports the word culture gets overused, but it's so important. You guys know that. It's so important.
It is. I mean, you guys motivate each other more than I could motivate you. You know, when you guys were out practicing with each other, it wasn't like, you guys want to win practice.
Yeah,
You
it feels weird saying it, and I think all of us felt this to an extent, but it was sometimes harder to lose to some of my teammates. Like, I was happy for my teammates when they did well, but it was like almost like that additional, because I was running with these guys, and especially running like when Connor and I were running my senior year, he was my, one of the biggest pieces of competition I had in the state. And then just training against him every day and just it was a good competition that kind of pushed us forward in my opinion.
And that daily competition had to make the races a little bit easier.
It did, especially if we're going to Dog Hill, every other week.
Yeah.
That was harder than a race.
Yeah, well, and that was always part of the goal is I wanted to make practices harder than what the meets would be.
Yeah.
That's why we raced faster than race pace most of the time. We had a lot of race pace workouts, but we wanted to go faster because I wanted things to be tougher. So when you all stepped onto the course, that was going to be the easy part of the week.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say too, it's not just that you guys were doing the right things as coaches, but we believed that you were. So we had a lot of
And that's
trust
part of
in
the
what was
culture.
going on. And I mean, I was telling Sam the other day, I believed every time I got on the line that you would train me specifically for that race, or it was part of the process. And I think it really helped that trust.
Yeah. But that's one of those things. You guys got so confident about what you were doing, and not just your all's teams, but most of the teams we had. That, man, you knew when you stepped on the line you were going to win.
Yeah.
Even when we went down to Nike Southeast region, man, you guys, we were going against what's the next, not Tennessee, Brentwood.
Yeah.
And they were one of the top teams in the country for a long time, and you guys said you were going to beat them. And you did.
Yeah.
Went to Chicago, beat York. I mean, those kind of things. You just guys stepped in line. You stepped with a lot of confidence.
And I think what was special about those wins specifically is I felt somebody stepped up a new person stepped up every week. Because I remember Thomas specifically at Palatine. You had a really good sub-16 race. I think it was fourth or fifth guy that race.
Something like that, yeah.
And that got the win there. And
And it was tight. It was.
it's like 2 points. I don't know. It was close. I remember that.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, man, the competition within the team was, I think, what made the team so great. Like, we were always battling for, like, the top 7 spots, and that was going on. And then I think that carried through the whole team, Like, if you were the 20th man, well, I want to be the 19th man next time, And it just kind of changed it kind of helped change the culture, too, I think.
I always thought it was kind of strange that, when you guys got in a race and maybe you went out too fast or something like that, and you're kind of backing up and dying and stuff like that, and a guy from another team would pass you up, and it's like, oh, okay, I'll go up a little bit, but they'll go ahead. But then somebody from your own team passes you up, and says, no, that ain't going to happen. Man, all of a sudden you dig down, man, get it back.
So you've spoken a little bit about kind of your philosophy, coaching philosophy. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
I just try to make myself the most knowledgeable coach I could. And like I said, we couldn't get online. I didn't get anything online. I mean, I learned a couple things later on, but mostly we went to clinics. And if a workout the guy did sounded good, I tried out. Okay, and if it worked out, we kept it. If it didn't work out, we didn't. The main problem is with all that is that you don't have so many practice days. You couldn't put anything in that you wanted to. But I just want to be the best coach I could be, because you guys, like you said, man, you guys were looking at me and Coach Young like we were the experts.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you looked at us and you worked hard and you put all those miles in and all those quarters and all those things you did, okay, I wanted to be the best coach I could be because you were trying to be the best athlete you could be. I owed it to you guys.
I thought as well, just kind of a memory stepped in my mind about just you're pretty flexible for how much success you've had. I felt like if you heard a coaching clinic and it kind of adjusted from what you had previously thought, you were very willing to kind of adjust and make those changes. I think a different coach might have said, like, no, I'm sticking with what's worked for me for the past 20 years. But I remember specifically we were doing workouts with trainers, and you came back from a clinic, and we were kind of discussing, like, should we go more lighter weight on repeats to get more in our natural gait? And at first you were kind of like, no, I don't know. I want you to race in those shoes. I want you to do that during your race, and that's it. And then I remember you got back from a clinic, and you were like, let's start doing some barefoot strides. Let's start doing some workouts in flats. And I was really like impressed about the flexibility there, because I think a different coach would have been like, no, we're sticking to what, I've always said, but you were willing to kind of move with the times.
But at the same time, you stuck to kind of your general training philosophy, which I think instilled a lot of confidence in us that
Yeah.
you've done it before, right? Like you could point to workouts that people had done in the past
Right.
and say, hey, this guy ran whatever time in this race and he did this workout before. That gave us a lot of confidence.
Yeah, especially on the track when we were doing track
Yeah.
workouts. I mean, that 600, 200 thing, I got that from a Houston barber who was coach at South Oldham, who was very successful. In the 200 jog across the track, I got that from Swag.
Yeah.
So it's it's all stuff I got from guys who are more knowledgeable about it than I was, at least at that time, and probably still are now. I mean, we can go that way with it. But a lot of the things I did with it, like the shoes and stuff, I just remember when we were in high school, our coach, when we told us to get shoes, he told us to get the heaviest ones we could get.
Yeah.
He did. So he would recommend, we used to.
About all you had back then.
Yeah, they were called. I remember we practiced in Pumas, and they were heavy as hell. When you take them off, you get in a race, your feet are going to feel real light and stuff like that. And things like muscle memory and those type of things, they weren't talked about too much back then. So but when I went to clinic, guy said, yeah, you can get muscle memory going fast and stuff like that. I said, yeah, well, we're going to try it, see what happens.
I think sometimes coaches are very, very hard-headed.
Yeah.
But I think you and we were pretty good at adjusting day to day. We might adjust practices depending on the weather. Maybe we had a hill workout scheduled, and some coaches would say, "We're doing that," but we would adjust and say, "Okay, we're going to flip flop." You talked about trying stuff. I remember specifically we used to do a workout called Killer Dillers. where
That was
you
Joe
would-
Newton, man.
Yeah, it was a Joe Newton workout where you would sprint as hard as you could for 50 meters, jog for 60, sprint for 50, jog for 60, and we'd do it up and back, up and back. And we did it for several years, and kids would think, and we did it for a half hour. And these kids would think, half-hour workout, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy. I'll breeze through that. Well, it's not an easy workout. But we found out that Saturday, whatever race we had, I think it was Trinity Invitational, we'd run terrible.
We'd run terrible.
And so
It took a long time to get
you
over
guys probably never did Killer Diller.
No.
Never have.
Yeah.
It took us a long time to get over it.
Yeah.
So
It was for a half-hour workout, it was
Yeah.
killer.
It was Killer Dillers.
One big change when I was there was, I think, definitely freshman year, then also sophomore year. You would bring us in the morning, and we would go to the weight room and lift
Right.
weights 3 days a week. But then I think you did go to like a coach's clinic, and basically you came back, and instead of doing the weightlifting, we started running in the mornings.
And then did core on top of it, like
Yeah,
after
yeah.
workouts to get
Yeah.
that stuff in there.
So we started doing like more mileage and started running more. I mean, the system never changed, but year to year it did look a little bit different.
And I do think, and it came from a lot of people I know, that once we started increasing the mileage, like when I first started coaching, we would start out like at 25 miles a week, and we'd build up to 45. And the more people I talked to said, no, you got, especially Joe Newton said, you got to run more miles. Yeah. So then we got to the
Capillary
point.
development.
Exactly. So we got to the point where we were starting at 45 miles and finishing at 70. And I really think that helped a whole lot.
Yeah.
Because when I was reading about energy systems, the aerobic is about 75% of what a 5K race is, and the anaerobic is only about 25%. So we started doing our workouts where, we're going. I mean, it may not be scientific. I don't know, but I said, well, if that's the way it's a race, that's what we're going to do in practice. We're going to do 75% aerobic and 25% anaerobics. It kind of worked out.
You talked about clinics. I remember going to clinics, and some of that stuff, and they were college coaches typically, was so technical. And they talked about
Joe
VO2
Hill.
max and testing for VO2 max and all that stuff. We couldn't do that, But there was always some little nugget that you could get out of their workouts that seemed to work.
Yeah, and
Or it didn't, and we changed.
yeah, and I think it reinforced a lot of stuff we were doing already. Because, God, these guys are doing it, man. So it must be right. But I'd much rather go to a clinic where they have a good high school coach there,
Yeah.
telling you what to do than a good college coach. Because like we saw Ron Mann up in Columbus, he's got like 8 guys, so he could tailor his workouts while they were going on.
Yeah.
Where we had 70, and like I said, I want everybody to be part of the team. I couldn't do that type of thing. So when I started going to coaches that had similar teams we had, that was to me more enlightening than listening to any college coach.
Yeah, we had to have workouts for you guys that were elite, and then for guys that were maybe joggers at best, and still make them feel like part of the team.
But another guy that we did a good job with was Jack McNogue.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, what was he when he stepped in? I mean,
Yeah.
nobody ever heard of him. He came in and he finished top 15 in the state.
Yeah, he did.
So,
Speaking of, talk about Rick Simonis.
Rick Simonis, man. When Rick Simonis was there, he ran a 6:30 miles a freshman. Ended up running 4:30 mile at state his senior year,
Yeah.
and was 11th in the state.
He was in the top 15, maybe 11th or 12th, something
Yeah, he
like
was
that.
until stage as a senior. I mean,
Yeah.
so
Ran for 4 years at Vanderbilt.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as success stories came in, I mean, I knew you were going to be good. I knew you for a long time. Really didn't know you. And I knew Chris because you run grade schools, racing against Max and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of these guys, I didn't know. And I knew you guys were going to be good because I've seen you. And you wanted to come here as a guy, and my hair would stand on my arm, man, because it was so exciting, and Zach and everybody. But the real ones that I look back on, or real success stories, are the ones that came in that didn't
Right.
run before or didn't do the things they're supposed to and just
That-
got better
that-
as they went along.
That were testaments to what hard work can do for you.
Exactly.
Not that you guys didn't do hard work, but you had some talent too. And some of these guys are they come in with not that natural talent.
Yeah, you came in with miles underneath your belt too. I
Yeah,
mean, it wasn't
yeah.
a whole lot of miles, but it was something.
Right.
Those other guys who just, well, I'm gonna come across country because that's about I know it's no cut. That's the only thing I can do.
Yeah.
Kind of like I did when I was in high school. It's the only thing I can do.
Yeah.
Talk about some of your favorite workouts.
My favorite workout was Dog Hill.
I knew you were going to say
Yeah.
that.
And when
What about your all's favorite workout?
Like in what context? When I was running it, or nowadays?
When it was
looking back?
finished?
Yeah.
When you were back
I
in school?
wasn't- You felt Dog Hill for a couple of days. I wasn't happy about that one until I got to the race.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, but as you saw the state meet course, all of a sudden you realize that's why we do this. But yeah,
Sam liked the 4x5K. That was your
yeah. Connor's legs were just on the Dog Hill. He just got up there. And I always felt bad. Funny dynamic with Dog Hill is the groups we set it up with. So it was usually like groups of 7.
Right.
And I always felt really bad for that last guy in each group, like that just had a
Yeah.
good race and they made it up, and so you got and then it's, I don't know if
Mark
people
Johnson.
listening know this, but it's an Indian run up the hill,
Right.
So you have to you can't take any of the hill repeats off. Like essentially you're going as fast as everybody else.
You want to keep
And-
that pack together.
Yeah, and then just
So the
somebody.
poor guy in the back who had to pass.
somebody would just get slided in there, and they just knew that they couldn't take the hill off, and the downhills when we really started separating from one another. But I always felt bad for those guys.
A lot of those dog hill workouts, we would actually do 4 miles in the morning and then
Right.
run to the dog
Yeah.
hill.
Run
By
to
the
the
end of
dog
it, it's
hill.
like a 16-mile day, But whenever we did dog hill, we would walk into the locker room, and on the whiteboard it would say, "Put water bottles in truck."
And so you're like, yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
And then if you forgot your water bottle, he'd make you do push-ups before the workout.
but it was. I mean, resistance running is to me is what makes you strong, and definitely Dog Hill was a resistance run. I mean, you're working against gravity uphill for how long the hill was, and it was a half-mile loop, and when you got to the top, I mean, you couldn't slow down. Except for the guy passing, it was still a race-paced workout. I want you to do what you all did during a race.
Yeah.
When you got to the top of the hill, most races don't end at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
So I want you guys to keep going until you got to that all the way down that little 100-meter stretch.
Yeah, the cool part about it for me was there were no times. It was
Oh, yeah.
kind of like a race
You didn't
every
think
rep.
about time.
Yeah.
That's how I viewed it, as a race against Sam every time.
Yeah.
Well,
Me
believe
too.
it or not, I was timing it.
I
if
figured
y'all
you
got
were, yeah.
if y'all got slow on a couple of them, I kind of remind you back.
I do kind of remember you being like at the bottom of the hill, like, "Oh, good, that was a good one." Or pick it up.
I had my watch in my pocket.
Yeah.
Well, and not only did that workout make you physically strong, it made you mentally strong too. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys had to go back to school and think, God dang it, I finished that workout. I'm better than
Exactly.
that chump at whatever school that, maybe did a 5-mile easy run today,
Yeah, no one was doing that kind of stuff.
No.
Yeah. But I never, I never want y'all to think that workout was easy. And I didn't want you to enjoy it, but I want you to be satisfied with it when you got done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And being able to run from St. X over to Doghill, which is about 2.5 miles,
Yeah.
do that bad.
And not a flat
Work-
2.5 miles.
No.
It was
Up Eastern Parkway. And then when you get done, you're wore out, having to go back.
I thought the other one was the 6x800 or the
Yeah, I was gonna bring
6x400.
that up.
And
it
track.
was where, and I thought it was interesting because you had to think about it like you were only doing 2 all out.
Right.
But you knew in the back of your mind you had 4 after that.
Right.
It was so hard.
I think a cool dynamic there too is like our 5K times we had a pretty good 1 to 5 and 1 to 7 split, but there was some like gaps there. But like on certain workout days, like Thomas would just work me and Connor, like especially the 6x400, 6x800, 4x400. So I felt like there was always like everybody, past the top 7, but especially the top 7 would push each other on the right days. And I just remember Striegel and I just on a lot of those speed workouts
On the
just
track, yeah.
just getting like we would be like 10th and we'd just be
Yeah.
we'd be racing each other though.
Yeah.
If you got like Thomas, who's an 800-meter guy, I mean,
Yeah.
that was kind of his kind of thing. It was in his
Yeah.
wheelhouse. You
Yeah.
guys, the longer distance guys, well, it's not really what I do best, but it made you better.
We still took it seriously.
Yeah, you did take it seriously.
We try our best.
You did. I mean, I don't ever remember any time that was there that you guys dogged a workout.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some days you were sore and you didn't have it, and we were able to adjust sometimes and stuff like that. Yeah, today's not the day, but I don't remember you guys dogging anything, ever.
I think one thing about like Sam saying that I could beat him in some workouts, I think that what that indicates is we did a little bit of everything, So we would do some speed workouts, but we would also do days where I hated every second of it, We got through it.
The
like
4x5K.
days.
4x5K.
And I think a sign of a good training plan is, a little bit of everything all the time.
I got that from Joe V. Hill, and I don't know if you even know who he is, but he coached Adams State out in
Okay. Yeah.
in Colorado, and it's a D2 school, but they won the NCAA's one time with a perfect score, and with like a 6-second gap.
Wow.
So I think something.
Yeah.
But when we saw him at the clinic, he said, "You know what? People may not get that workout." He said, "But when those guys get done, they are completely satisfied, man. They know that they've done something tough."
Yeah.
And when it gets to racing, because it was 4 times the race distance. So when you get to racing, it's like, oh my God, I don't have 3 more left.
All right, brag on yourself a little bit. Talk about your team state championships and then individual state championships as a coach.
Oh man, I had a lot of good teams.
How many, first of all? Tell the folks how many.
Well, we've coached, and you were with me the whole way, Rob. We had 10 state cross country champions over a 20-year period. So average out every year we were winning. We had 3 in track. The thing about track was we had 3 state championships, but we had like 7 runner-ups too. Like we lost by a couple points. So,
I remember we had won 3 in a row, and then we came in second one year, and then won 3 in a row. And the one we finished second was by 1 point.
Oh God, that was
Still hurts me. Still hurts
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, we did have a streak, and I'm gonna give kudos to Coach Myros. When I first started coaching, I was a guy who, we're not gonna bust the first quarter. We're gonna go out at a decent pace and just pick people off. Our first team was 1998, and all the guys that were on that at least coached as freshmen, they came in like 6th or 7th the year before, and we started coaching with our new philosophy. And one thing is that we're not going to go bust to the front like we did, and they listened to that. Trinity was the defending state champion, and in that race they went 1, 2, 3. Trinity did, but we went 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we ended up beating them. And that was like a 11-second gap. Mm-hmm. So we ended up beating them. So that was probably one of the most satisfying races that I've ever coached. As far as the state championships go, let me finish my story there. But as we went along, and the next year we won it. But Bobby came along, but we won it without him. But the next 4 years we had Bobby, and we won 2 out of the next 4. We won, 2 of the next 4 we was there, and then we started getting guys in there that were good but didn't want to work. That one summer we had those guys. I'm not going to mention any names, but I used to have Coach Cooper's philosophy. During the summertime, we'd expect them to run, and they did because we had good senior leaders. But that one year after we won it in 2000, that was 2001, I think. We won it with seven guys in the top 25.
Right.
And we
5
graduated.
in the top 16, I believe.
Yeah. And we were going to graduate 2 of those guys, so we were prohibitive favorite next year. But those guys decided, and we're bringing Bobby back, and those guys decided something they weren't going to run. So we came in, and guys that the year before had run and did what they're supposed to, they came back fat and out of shape, and we will never recover from that. Mm-hmm. Right. So we ended up losing that, and we should have won that one. Yeah. But then I got a little scared. So and this is one of the regrets I have because you guys are supposed to look up to me as a coach, but I told the guys in complete different philosophy than what we were doing. I said, go to the front. And we got to get out front. We got to run these guys. And I was telling guys to be at the mile when they probably shouldn't have been, and stuff like that. And I changed that. And I could kill myself for doing it right now because the guys were still working hard, but the coach made a mistake, and that still bugs me. And then when Coach Myros came on, he brought me back to that philosophy again. So you remember, man, you used to send the guys out slow. Mm-hmm. Let's start doing that. And that's when we started backing things up at the first quarter. Make sure you guys weren't in the front and just passing people like that. And I do remember when we were down at when we won the Southeast region. That because they're giving updated scores as you go along, as you go swing across those pads, and they never mentioned us once.
Yeah, I remember at the bottom of the hill, less than a quarter mile into the race, you guys were in last place. I mean, yeah. But all these guys are 300 people in the race, and you guys were probably the last 7 guys in the race.
But you came up the hill, and all of a sudden the announcer goes, "Oh my God." St. X ran a tremendous last mile. They're the first team with 5 in the chute.
And we took pride to be able to do that too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
And they never mentioned you guys the whole time.
I was laughing kind of about that, but I remember at the regionals before the state meet that year. I don't remember how strongly this was put, but I think you said something along the lines of, if anybody goes out faster than a 75, you're not running state. And I was like, all right, we're not doing that. We'll go 85. Like, we're good.
It was fine.
But it was definitely like, it was definitely preached all year. And so when we got there, I remember working, I think this was that race, but we were working together at regionals. We were working together.
All 7 of you.
Yeah. And I remember Connor after the race. I was like, we were trying to feed off each other. And I was like, let's go, Connor. Like, let's get it. And Connor ended up beating me by 15 seconds. But after the race, he was like, man, I thought you were feeling really fresh at that time. And I was like, not at all.
If you remember that race that Patrick went out. Yeah. And you ended up catching him.
Yeah. That was regionals, I think.
Yeah.
That was regionals.
And then the kid from Meade County.
Yeah.
was out front. And I remember Thomas told me, he said, they called up to him, and Thomas goes, "I'm sorry, but Coach, we mad at us if we don't beat you."
Poor kid.
That race was where that awesome photo was taken too, of us 7 running together, and Coach Medley has.
You get the stopwatch. I still got that in my
I
basement.
still got it as a screensaver on my iPad.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I think that was the one we started like 2 seconds after everyone else.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
we kind of paused on the. That was kind of fun to do.
Yeah, but as far as the championships go, I mean, when Coach Medley started to slow again, all of a sudden our racing became much better. And my philosophy always was that the regular season races were like practice. You practice how you're going to race.
Yeah.
But then we put that string together where we went. We won 3, lost by a point, then won 3 more. We probably should have won at least 7 in a row. But that's the way things are. I mean, that's the way it worked out. But my first team was exciting. My first state championship was exciting. 2005 when we went to Nike?
With Thomas
With
Davis.
Thomas Davis and those guys. That was the first one because
Scott McLean.
that was actually the first time we were able to compete out of state. LaSalle came down for the Franklin County Invitational,
Right.
and they were Ohio State champion, and we beat them that day.
Yeah.
And that's when we were invited. We didn't qualify back then. You had to.
You had to have a ranking.
Yep. So that's when we qualified.
When we finished, what did we finish at Great American? Second?
Yeah, something like
Something
that.
like that. We were up there.
Yeah, we were up there. That's when Great American was like bringing the mound in from Texas. And,
Right,
I mean,
right.
they were. I mean, all these guys were coming in.
Yeah. So all of a sudden we had a second place regional ranking, and we were able to hold on to that. But I remember that made the state championship that year. I mean, if we lost to Trinity that year, we weren't going to.
No, we weren't going to go.
to
So it made
Nike.
it more important.
Yeah.
But and then the 2009 team was that that Thomas Mann,
And Hillenbrand.
Hillenbrand, those
Hillenbrand,
guys.
yep,
When Thomas Mann was run with a broken back,
I remember that.
Jackson Carnes didn't run because he got
That's
sick.
awesome.
Yeah, he had mono. Yeah.
Yeah, and we ended up winning. Our top guy was 10th, and that was Thomas. But we ended up winning the state because we put everybody in 13 seconds.
Connor stepped up that day too.
Yeah,
Freshman, yeah.
exactly. Connor was there.
Freshman.
Okay, that was
That's right.
Yeah.
that was an awesome. But 2011, is that what I got on there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 2011. I remember Chad Wagner, Trinity. Had a very good team,
Yeah.
and we went out and we scored 31 points. And Chad comes to me after the race, goes, "I wasn't expecting that." And so, I mean, whenever we have close gaps, that's that. And another satisfying thing about coaching is when you go to state meet and you run like you practice and it works out like you hope it was. Man, it makes you feel good as a coach. And then, of course, 2012 when we tied for the lowest score ever at state meet, 20 points. Then we won Nike Southeast Region. That's the same year. We went up to York, beat York and all those guys, and went up to Nike, which was awesome. Was there anything more cool than going in that locker room thing that they had set up there?
No,
That was with your names on the
That was so cool.
on the
that was
things,
cool.
and then
Touring the Nike campus and all that stuff.
and then coming back the next year after you guys were gone. Chris was still there. After you guys were gone, winning it again
Yeah.
with Jack Minogue and Stephen Kenny and guys who nobody really expected to.
Yeah, that was the cool thing about that year is all the, we didn't have as much like talent as the previous year, but it was just guys that kind of really picked it up in high school, and then
Yeah, I
and
mean,
by their senior years they were
you and Max and I mean all those. I mean, good leaders. I mean, doing what you're supposed to be doing. That was great. Then we lost by that 1 point, and that's just the way it is. Sometimes you can't win every time out. But I thought we raced pretty well, but we probably could. We should have done better. But then we come back with 2000. God, what would that have been? 13, 14, 15, 2015 we won again.
15,
picked-
16, 17.
Yeah, we picked up Patrick Schaefer, and that guy came in. And then in 16, again, we went to Nike again. So we took 3, which is pretty exciting for us because we took 3 different teams there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's pretty good. So that's a lot of continuity there. Then we won the next year, and we should have won again. But we had a couple of guys that didn't have the races that they had at state meet, and ended up getting fourth. We're thoroughly gone. But they're all special in their own way, and they're all very satisfying. So.
All right, I'm gonna shift gears here a little bit. Talk about being the race organizer, race manager, race director for Tiger Run.
Wow.
Talk about how much fun that is.
When it was Seneca Park, it was pretty easy.
Yeah.
The worst part about it was parking, but the course is already laid out, and
Yeah.
you didn't
Getting
have
there so early in the morning.
you didn't have computers and stuff like that. You just kept score the old-fashioned way. But then we went to down River Road, and each year we had to cut the course. We had to map it out. We had to wheel out 10 times to make sure it was on.
Seems like it was always changing because they would have something going on that they had changed, that we had to change our course.
Yeah, they put that ladder in life there for a while, and they put that gravel on the backside, so we had to move that. But actually, when we first laid it out, I thought it was pretty cool how we were able to fit it in there. And there's not a hill there, but we had some ditch crossings and stuff like that, and that made it kind of interesting. And really, for the first race of the year, flat's probably okay. And but then if we depending on what happened on the weather-wise, if it rained, man, I mean, there were puddles all over the place. We had to get dirt and stuff put in on it.
It was in a flood zone.
It wasn't a flood zone, so we had to. God, you remember we first laid it out? That first day we walked out, there was a dead deer.
Oh, with maggots all over it. Oh, it was awful.
Man.
It was awful. What about the year that they hadn't cut the grass in God knows how long, and we're trying to get the course ready for Mr. Hillenbrand to come down and use his big mowers and cut the place. So I had my little mower. He had his mower that had one wheel that would wobble, and we're trying to cut through this stuff.
Coach had one.
With like push mowers?
Yeah.
With push mowers.
All we want to do is get a path cut out.
This grass had to be 12 inches high.
We would make it a foot and a half.
And I'm thinking, these people driving down River Road have to be going, what the hell are they doing?
God, it was a mess. And then you always worry about middle school because this is before we got chips. Because the middle school kids only ran, 3K?
Yeah.
Whatever it was. So it was over quick, and you had 300, 400 kids coming through there in about a minute gap.
Yeah.
So
you're trying to time them.
You're trying to time them. You're trying to get their numbers written down so we get in the right
keep
place.
them in order.
Man, the best thing that happened was when those chips came in because that took it all off our back.
Yeah. But what? Thomas, you've gotten into coaching pretty heavily.
Yeah.
What do you take from your years with Coach Medley?
Yeah, I mean, I take a lot. Even like going back to when I ran with Swag, and after Coach Medley, I ran in college, and I try to take a little bit of everything, a little bit of something from each coach that I had. But the one thing that I took from you, Coach Medley, is when I'm dealing with a kid, obviously getting them to trust what I'm having them do, but also trust me as a person. That's one thing that we kind of talked about earlier. Was when you gave us something, we knew it was for the best. It would help us in running, but also you made us better people, and that's something that I try to translate over to the kids that I coach.
Yeah, that was always a goal of us too. I mean, very few guys I've ever coached have ever become pro, and I just wanted you guys, especially when you pick your colleges and stuff. I want you to pick your college for what you're going to be later on in life, your career, and I did, and I'm very proud of you guys. I mean, almost every one of them I ever coached to a man has become a man, and they become productive members of society, still continue the running for the most part, and that's just as satisfying to me as any of the state championship we have.
Yeah, you really taught us how to value hard work.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the most
And
important
that carries
things.
over to everything.
Yeah.
It carries over to everything. Not missing practice, so you're not going to miss work. Yeah.
You mentioned Bobby Curtis a minute, or you mentioned the very few runners go on to run professionally, but you've had a couple of guys that have done that. Talk a little bit about them.
Well, when Bobby came in, but Bobby ran grade school, and he was like grade school miler, and he ran, gosh.
I don't know if we've mentioned his last name, Bobby Curtis.
Bobby Curtis, yeah. He was like like a 435 miler in grade school, running on asphalt with heavy shoes and all that stuff. You know, we knew he was going to be good. And he came in, and he was the best guy on our team as a freshman, and just kind of took over. And and the thing is, I always trained freshmen different than I trained other guys, because I knew that they couldn't handle the volume. But with Bobby, as being so good, we tried to get him run where all the varsity workouts were, and it was tearing him down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing we learned
Adjustment,
about
yeah.
adjusting workouts for kids' maturity level. And so he ended up coming second to state as a freshman. And I swear if I had him a couple more years, I think he'd have won that. He won that year too. He tried to take it too early, and got beat by a stronger kid in the sprint. But
It was some inexperience on our part and his part.
yeah, and so he ended up getting state, and then he won the next three, setting all the state records. I mean, he owned the state record in the 5K, the mile, the 1600, the 2 mile, 32. I mean, he held all those state records, and competed nationally. I think he still may be the only guy that's a 3-time champion in the Nike Indoor Mile.
Yeah.
The Bowerman Mile.
Bowerman Mile.
He might be the only guy that did that. So Villanova, Wisconsin, Arkansas,
Michigan, wasn't Michigan?
in Michigan, all these guys came calling on him because he was just talented. And went to Villanova, broke 4-minute mile, was the NCAA champion. And a month after he won the NCAA in the 5K, he went to the Olympic trials, and I think he get sixth or something.
Sixth, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, Olympic trials. That's after racing 5K a month before. So he was signed on with
Reebok at first.
with Reebok at first, and he made a career out of running. And I talked to him one time. Says he called me up, thanked me one time. Said, thank you because of and he lost his dad when he was early, and because of Coach Magruder, his grade school coach, and because of us, because of Marcus O'Sullivan at Villanova, he said, I was able to travel 5 continents, all these different countries, meet a tremendous amount of people, and have success, and make a decent living from running. And that was his gift back to us, was coming back and tell us that, and that made us feel good. And all good things come to the end. He never made the Olympic team, but he made the Olympic trials a number of times. He was like one time he just had the 7th fastest 10K by an American ever. Those types of things. He made a good living, and now he has a family, and he's living in Philadelphia, and he's money manager guy. So I mean, he's doing real well for himself. And then we had Matt Hillenbrand. As far as pure speed goes, I think Matt was faster than Bobby. Mm-hmm. Pure speed. And Matt had a decent high school career, but when he went to college, went to the University of Kentucky, they recruited him, and ended up running a 4-minute mile there. I don't know if he did that at the SEC championships or not.
Yeah, I don't know
what it was, but he ended up.
Might have been the SEC
yeah.
championships.
You're in
And-
357 at Iowa State. Remember that? Or 358?
Yeah.
That's fat.
Yeah,
that was,
57,
yeah. That was crazy.
And then for the longest time, he had the fastest mile by Kentucky until Yard broke it.
Yeah.
And then, of course.
He
course,
broke it.
yeah.
Yeah, Yard's gonna be the next guy.
Yeah.
But he ended up getting a pro contract. And he ran pro for a while and stuff. And then now he's working at Staples corporate headquarters in Washington D.C. So they've all done with it. But that's about the only 2 we've had.
I would venture to say, I was just thinking about this, that there have to be only a handful of high schools in the country that can boast that they have 2 graduates that are sub 4-minute milers.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I tell you,
that's pretty incredible.
I tell you what, if William Malloy doesn't tear his toe, I think he'd have gone sub 4.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, because he ran a 4.11 as a junior.
Yeah.
in high school.
Yeah, in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he'd have been next, but he went to IU and ran, and things didn't quite work out there for him. But again, he's doing real
Yeah,
well
he's-
for himself
yeah,
too. I mean,
yeah.
I'm more proud what you guys have become as men than I am what you're runners. I am, and that you stay in close contact with us.
Yeah.
It makes us really
still
feel
wanna
good.
Come and talk to us.
It makes us really feel good that it's only a short 4 years in your life that we had some positive influence on it.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel good.
we could probably do this for another couple of hours, but anything you guys would like to add kind of in conclusion?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, you know, one of the biggest things that you taught me, that you guys, I can sort of think of from high school is, you know, even when things don't go right, to just kind of put it behind you and keep moving forward.
Rear view mirror.
Yeah, right. And in 2011, it was like everything went right for us as a team and me individually. But the next year, we ran great as a team. I didn't run as good, but in the middle of the race, it was like I didn't really care about how I was running individually. I just cared about getting that record, right? And I don't think that I would have had that mindset if it hadn't been for the values that you guys had instilled in us. Yeah.
Yeah, just I feel very lucky to have you guys as high school coaches. Coach Young, Coach Medley, Coach Yoakum, Coach Snow, Coach Myros, Coach Carter. You guys obviously like knew how to coach running, teach running, but you also made us better people, and that's what I'm super thankful for.
Yeah, just talking about now, it went by too fast. It was so fun. We hung out every weekend too and stuff. We were inseparable in high school.
Exactly.
And yeah, that was the best. I mean, it was fun winning and stuff, but just we still hung out all the time and stuff too. So
That's one thing that that when we came in. I want to do like our coach did us. I want to make you guys best friends.
yeah.
So you guys wouldn't let each other down, and I still hang around with some of the guys that I went to high school with and ran. So it's that bond when you guys are out running, 16-mile run, man. You got a lot of time on your hands to talk to each other, become real good friends.
Yeah. So that's my big takeaway is just just getting close to these guys, and it went by way too fast, I think. It was awesome.
Yeah, for me, it's just, I think it completely altered the trajectory of my life. Running for you guys, I don't think there's many other schools in the country that would have gotten as much as you guys got out of me. And then being able to go to a university that I had no business going to, even when I was a freshman in high school, I just, like, right from the get-go, I didn't want to take running seriously. I really didn't care too much. I remember, like, kind of vividly my dad telling me, hey, you're going to have to run every day now. And I was like, not sure if I want to do that. And, it was the culture that you guys built, because, I kind of credit it to my teammates and you guys, but being around teammates that really kind of pushed me and put me in the right mindset. And then even my freshman year, I wasn't too good, but kind of seeing the progress of other people. And I remember one race specifically, I just felt so much better than my last race. It was my freshman year, and I wasn't even that good at the time, but just feeling that progress kind of, and then having that work ethic that you guys helped instill was really transformative for my whole life.
And before we go, what place you get at Nike?
I was just going to,
Don't forget about it.
I was just going to brag on you. Of the 3 Nike championship teams that we had, you were the highest individual.
Yeah, there were some favorable course conditions there for me, but
for sure. Like you guys wasn't too good.
Yeah,
but I still got that picture before you guys raced, and then afterwards.
I still got it on my phone. Yep.
That was muddy.
Coach, anything you'd like to add, and we'll wrap it up.
I when I've told you guys before, man, you guys did way much more for me than I've ever done for you all. I mean, you guys have kept me young. You guys have kept me enthusiastic. You kept me wanting to go to practice every day. And I know everything was tough, but I hope I made your lives fun too. I mean, we did a lot of team stuff together and stuff like that. And I just want to say that you guys made me a better man than I was. You guys made me more committed. You guys made me care more. And I thank you all. I do. Coach?
I'll just say, thank you guys for coming today. Thanks, Coach. This is the first Coaches of Louisville segment here, and the next ones have a tough road to follow. I think this has been awesome.
They'll all be good. I tell you what, we have great coaches in this city.
Yeah.
We have great coaches in the state, and they can pat themselves in the back because I think collectively we made our state a better state for running.
Yeah.
I do. I think collectively we have, and when I think of some of the awards that we've gotten, like Coach of the Year and stuff like that, and I feel bad for myself, but not stepping away from him. But I think there's other coaches out there that did better jobs than what we did.
There's some,
That same year, I'm thinking about Larry Garner in Meade County when he had put that good team together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we beat them, but you know we had a great team, and he just took a bunch of guys and just made them better.
yeah.
They're a
It'd be
great.
interesting to see some of the coaches that they decide to, do segments with as the months go on.
They're great coaches, and Demond Smith at Mail, and what he's doing over there, he's a great friend. Tim Holman over at Manual, Scott Hosconnect at Trinity, and there are great coaches in this town, who are every bit as good as we are. It's just we've been blessed to have great guys that want to work hard and do what we ask you to do and have great talent.
And thank you all for choosing St. X instead
Thank you.
of DeSales or somewhere else like that.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you may make
thanks so
basketball
much.
team now.
Yeah. Got cut.